So I did one in January. So this is February's, even though we're in April.
I'm not hearing James.
Oh, I think his computer crashed.
Oh, no. I'm not hearing him at all. He's frozen. Is he frozen on your screen?
No, he's frozen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing up as completely frozen.
Oh, it's one way to shut him up.
He said he's having computer problems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the feeling.
If he's having a computer problem, he will disappear from the screen. He'll log out
and come back in. Yeah.
I think that's more an internet problem. And I don't even have my phone with me.
Oh, there he goes. He's gone. He's coming back. He'll probably come back.
It says it's going to take about 20 minutes to reboot.
Oh.
All right. We'll just, I think we should just talk and go ahead without him.
Okay. Yeah. Aw. I know. That kind of sucks.
He'll be back.
And
I spent the whole day with James. I took him out for lunch. We went for a pita.
Oh, did you? That's nice.
We went for coffee. We went to the camera store, and I bought one of these.
Oh, what is that?
It's going to show up. Come on, man, show up. Can you see it? No, eh?
Yeah, what is that?
It's a flash.
Oh, okay.
What are you seeing? Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, it says Godox AD200 Pocket Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's got a battery, and it's rechargeable. Yep. It's pretty powerful. It's not super powerful, but for what I need, it's powerful enough. And I went in the camera store last week to test it out, to make sure it worked with a Sony.
Yep.
And I bought one of these. This was $100. This was $3.99. And James bought a new Canon 6D or something like that. So I was ready to buy this anyways, and I used this on location. It's like a studio light, so I'm gonna rig it up with a shoot through halo light, which I use anyways. But I normally use the Vagabond Mini, which is cumbersome and all manual.
Right.
Hold on, let me talk to him. I'll just tell James that I'll be right there. Or I'll just tell him KK. His computer's acting up. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm going to use this summer for location shoots. I want it for high-speed sync, and it's got TTL.
Right.
Hold on, there we go. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I went in and I tested it because I was like, Sony is kind of like this obscure brand, it's not mainstream, so it's like,
no.
Will it work with Sony?
But Godox is like kind of it's sort of a low end.
Yeah.
Pro photo style.
Oh, it's much lower end than Pro Photo.
Yes, but it does all the things Pro Photo does.
Yeah, and I read a lot of positive reviews. Now, here's the transmitter receiver, right? Mm-hmm. And when I picked up the actual light unit in the store, and when I picked this up, it doesn't feel junky.
Right.
It feels really well made. So, and the reviews were pretty solid on it. So. Yeah. What do you want?
And I've heard that the rechargeable battery systems for the Godox work really well.
Appears to. So I'm in. Yeah. I'm invested in it. So. But anyways. I wanted, I just so I can talk about something else for a second before we get James back here. You might be wondering why I like doing these on a regular basis. I went to this, can you see the screen?
Yep. Voice of Success guy.
But, yeah, on my audience view tab here, it says that you can see my studio website, and it's not showing me that you can see Roger Love, Voice of Success. Anyways, so I have to confirm it. Anyways, I went down to this event in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago. I had a blast of a time, and it was like a 3-day conference. So it's sort of like a self-improvement sort of thing. It was kind of bizarre. I had no idea why I was going there, but I was invited, and I had these tickets cost $1,000, and somebody had one for me. So, I thought, what the hell? I'm going to go. I'm looking for something. I like going to events. I usually go to photography events, although I haven't been to that many, And it was really, really cool. Met some amazing people. Met a group of people, and likewise, I told them, I said, we got to meet up once in a while and do these meetings. So this is just a great way to sort of connect, see what's new, see what's exciting, and talk about most things photography. Because I know you're pretty busy yourself, so it's always good to hear what you got to say. James just logged out, which means his computer is rebooting. But I'm going to ask you what's new and exciting with you, but let me finish my part, and then we'll let you go. And then when James gets here, he can go, and then we could talk about that other question that James doesn't know what I asked because he didn't read the link.
Didn't read it.
You did. Did you find that was an interesting point that I brought up, or topic of conversation? Cool.
It's probably a point that comes up more than once in a photographer's career.
It was a big one, and James and I talked about that today, and that's why I brought it up. And if anybody's watching this as a recording, then you'll know what I'm talking about in a minute. So I bought the Godox. That's new with me. I got medieval portraits coming up. See those there? That's really exciting. I got Fairy Day coming up 2 weeks after that. I'm booking out like crazy. And we just had 2 runs with ice fairy pictures, which were very successful. So
that's very cool. Yeah,
that's
looks a little different, right?
Yeah. Well, they love it. And thanks to you, Judy, I was inspired, and I went and did my wife was away in Costa Rica this winter for 7 weeks. So while she was gone, the mice will play. I ran a Facebook ad for boudoir photography.
Oh no.
I booked 2, and both of them, one came in already, one is scheduled to come in next week. They waited. I went for 3 weeks to Costa Rica, and they waited till I got back. So, and I swiped a lot of your ideas. I really appreciate you helping me out with that. It was just really, really good.
Yeah, for sure.
You got a lot of really good ideas when it comes to boudoir, and that's just like amazing. So
probably because I've tried just about anything. Yeah.
So that's all new and exciting with me. What about you? What's been happening? I know you've been busy and all that stuff. And
oh my gosh, yeah, everything's been busy. Well, I have of course, the retouching business, which as of the 1st of January, I picked up a new client that is like insanely busy.
Oh, good. Like, can I ask you busy with what? Boudoir weddings?
Yeah, boudoir. It's all boudoir. I don't do weddings. I only do boudoir retouching. No, I just do boudoir retouching. Okay. So she shoots about 3 to 5 sessions a week.
Wow.
And I'm doing some of them, and another retoucher I know is doing a couple of them. But
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So I have her, plus I have all my other clients too on top of that. So it's been really good.
Where do you find the time?
Yeah, it's my week. My week is scheduled. I'm scheduled out 2 weeks ahead all the time.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I don't know if I told you or not that I got asked to speak at a boudoir retreat in Colorado in November.
I don't think so, but tell me more.
Yeah, it's the AIBP retreat, which is the Association of International Boudoir Photographers.
Uh-huh.
So I've belonged to that group for years, right?
Right.
And they have a retreat every year, and I think they've done it like 3 years in a row. So the one in Colorado will be the 4th year,
nice.
And I'm speaking about fine art nudes at the workshop. So because nudes is not something that anybody's ever presented, and they really want that. So it's typically a smaller group. It's like about 50, 60 photographers. It's not like this massive, huge group. So I'm really looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Should be exciting. Do you go to a lot of events like that, or have you been to a lot in the last bunch of years? Or
No, I mean, like for me, it's like WPPI and that's it, right? But WPPI really has nothing to offer boudoir photographers.
So you don't go to WPPI, or you do go, or you went last year?
No, I haven't been in a few years because there's nothing for boudoir photographers.
Sounds like this gig in Colorado is like ideal.
Yes, and like anything that is very centered around the boudoir industry is good, because we don't get that at any of the other big things that go on. Like there's right now is Shutterfest, which is down in St. Louis, Missouri. That's happening this week, which is really big. But again, it's wedding and portraits. It's not not a lot of boudoir happening there. I mean, they've kind of gone the same way as WPPI in that they have a trade show and they have a print competition, and they're like WPPI's competition, basically, right?
Cool.
Yeah. So what I like about the retreat is 100% boudoir. That's all it is.
Yeah. I like that idea. Again, when I do these, I like getting these podcasts done, and I do a lot of webinars for the same reason. You get together, and it's like you're getting together in the same room with a bunch of people that are of like mind, and you have common stories. To me, it always feels like family. And similarly, and just if I can just sort of like take over for a second, when I went to that Roger Love Voices of Success, all the people there were of like mind, although they were not there for photography. I was my gig.
Yeah.
But they were there. It was just, there was this energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than the content and the actual conference, there was the people being in the same room with them. There's this energy. And have you ever had that to any big degree? And I'm guessing it's going to happen to you in a big way when you go down to Colorado. I mean, you're going to have 56 photographers, all with that niche. You guys are going to be jazzed.
Yes. And I think, like there's some really strong speakers that are happening there. The other thing that they do a lot of is they do a lot of actual shooting. So they don't just do instruction. They do a lot of shooting events where it's like,
really?
Like gang style shooting, and we all go in there and, photograph a lot of subjects. So I think it's kind of a little more fun because of that. Like they always provide a lot of models and a lot of those types of options. And, Boulder, Colorado is a beautiful place. Now it is in November, which could be really, really cold and really snowy. But that doesn't mean that you can't shoot there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
You're not shooting outside.
No. We're going to do some stuff outside, but more portrait-based stuff is going to happen outside. But no, obviously we're not doing nudes outside because that would not work.
In the public park.
That'd get a little cold, right?
Well, you said like when you say portraits, I thought it was all 100% boudoir.
Well, we're doing, the one thing we're talking about, because this is happening to a lot of photographers, including myself, that are boudoir photographers, is I'm getting a lot of inquiries and shooting a lot of business portraits for female entrepreneurs. And what it is women who do not want traditional headshots. So what they want is they want beauty portraits, but they want them done for their business. So I'm actually photographing another real estate agent coming up in May. And this will be the second time I've photographed her. And it's all for her promotional stuff. But they don't want those pictures that go on the signs and that's not what they're looking for. Right? So they're looking for more environmental type portraits that fit their business and fit them. And I've been doing a lot of that.
But there's obviously a tinge of glamour, makeup and hair, good lighting and good posing.
Exactly. It all kind of blends together, right?
I would imagine those elements are more to the forefront, especially the posing and...
Exactly, yes. very much so.
The environment.
Yeah.
You know, I did meet one young lady photographer when I was in LA. While I was standing around waiting to go in the room, where everybody was talking, and she was talking to somebody, and I heard her say, "I'm a photographer. I do empowerment portraits for women." So I had to butt in and start talking to her, and I was like, "Wow, that's so interesting." And she showed me her pictures she had before and after, and they were really nice. It sort of sounds like what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a lot of that kind of thing, and I mean, you know, what has brought me out into the forefront of doing this sort of thing is the boudoir, because boudoir has the same sort of feel and element to it, right? So, and these women know about me because of the boudoir photography. So it's kind of it's a joint thing. Yeah, definitely. And then I don't know if I told you this or not too. I'm doing the National Women's Trade Show in November.
It's in Toronto?
At the Metro Toronto Convention Center, yeah.
I think you had mentioned that. I'm not sure. It's a big show.
Yeah, it's the big one.
All that going with that?
It's a 3-day show.
Yeah, it's a big event. And you're sort of going to be involved as the official photographer, is that correct?
No, I have a booth.
You have a booth. All right.
Yes, I have a booth there.
That's perfect tie-in. I didn't know they had such a show.
Oh, yeah. It's like the shows where they have like all the plastic surgeons and all the makeup and all the hair things. And this is, it's a woman's show.
And the other photographers going to be there, do you know?
I know of a couple that do them from time to time, so there very well might be, but I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
No. It sounds like a big show. There's room for everybody. And yeah, that sounds perfect. As far as marketing and as far as tying in these, not only boudoir, but the other portraits you're doing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm introducing something new there.
Are you allowed to say it, or are you going to keep it a secret?
I'm going to keep it a secret for now.
All right, we'll wait.
I'm introducing something new there, yeah.
Yeah. I think we've had a women's show here up in Sudbury, but it was really kind of dorky. Because, you know, we're a mining blue-collar community up here, but they had it out in some small town on the outskirts, and it was kind of like all crafts. They seem to have the same exhibitors at all these shows, but that's just
okay. Yeah, no, see in Toronto they have the one of a kind craft show, so that's a different separate show. This is more. Yeah, that was last weekend actually. Was one of a kind craft show.
They have that in spring and fall. I went in the fall once. It was amazing.
Yeah, but this is this is a women's show, so it's all about, you know, it's all women's stuff.
They're a big segment of the market nowadays. I got to ask you though. You know, Brian DeMint had a story. I'm sure you've had many stories. I did a webinar. You used to do her. She's from New Jersey, boudoir photographer. I love boudoir, something like that.
Look who's here.
What's her name?
Jen Rosenbaum?
No. Susan Eckert.
Oh, Susan. Yeah. I used to do her retouching for her.
That's what I was getting at. So she, when I was talking to her, she had a very similar story as well, and it sort of ties in with what you're saying, and women and empowerment and all that stuff. And that was that when she got into photography, she just grabbed a camera and started shooting somebody, and that person cried when she looked at the images. They were so good. And Brian DeMint had the same exact experience when he got into photography. But these people are like they just naturally seem to know how to photograph women and make them look beautiful and whatnot.
Yeah.
Have you had that? So you talk about empowerment, specifically glamour and boudoir seems to have that effect on a lot of ladies.
Yeah. Women get really emotional when they look at their pictures because they don't see themselves the way we see them, right?
Right.
Like, you know, women have a pretty negative view of themselves most of the time.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is very positive. Yeah.
It's a real struggle, eh?
It is. And so what I do is try to give them a positive view of themselves all the time.
James, you're back. Is your microphone working? Oh, he hung up again.
No, he's not talking. Is he frozen again? Oh, jeez. He's having a hell of a time. What the hell's the matter with his computer?
I don't know. Yeah, he's out of here.
Oh. That really sucks.
Yeah, he's got to buy a new computer.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting. I'm almost there. I'm almost ready to get my new one too.
What are you getting?
iMac.
Oh, nice. I think. I'm
well, I mean, I know you're a PC guy, but yeah, it'll be nice, and it's kind of like that nice cross between the big desktop and the laptop, you know.
Yeah.
It's got the video built in and all the stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be nice once I get it. So hopefully by the end of this month I'll have the new computer.
What are you waiting for to buy it?
Money.
Oh, you gotta build the funds up.
Yeah, because they're not cheap, boy. Let me tell you.
How much are they?
Well, it's going to be anywhere between probably $3,000 to $3,500, something around there. Yeah. Right. So I'm just building up the funds. Yeah. Make sure I have enough because I don't want to cheap out and get a cheap one. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the only thing that I'm going to do is I'll probably just get it with the basic 8 gig of RAM, and then I'll buy the RAM separately because you can get a much better deal by buying the RAM separately.
See, I go to Costco, $1,500, and I just buy their biggest HP. That's what I use nowadays. Sorry, I mean, I'm such a hack. I'll admit it, I'm a hack.
They don't last long enough.
You know, my last computer was built by Kerry Allen. You remember Kerry? Yeah. He built one for me. It was $1,500 in 2009. I still use it. But it's been relegated to the proofing room. Yeah. But I can't use it anymore because it's the Windows. You know, I have to change everything. I just said, you know what? I'll just go buy a new computer. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. But that's kind of my situation. My Mac has been upgraded as much as it can be upgraded. It can't be upgraded anymore. So yeah, it's time to get a new one. And my laptop died. So, but that was like 6 years old. So of course it died, right? Yeah. And so I think I'm going to get a instead of getting a Mac laptop, I'll just get a PC laptop because I only need the laptop for viewing sessions. Oh, there you go. $600, Costco. Yeah. No, seriously. You know, like, I mean, I don't even care. I don't care if it has Windows. All it needs is the software, my photo mechanic software to run my viewing sessions on, and I'm happy. Yeah. So I gotta ask you a little techie stuff then, since you're bringing up computers and all that. Okay. I've been sort of keeping an eye out on these. You don't use a Wacom tablet, do you, with the pen? Yes, that's the only thing I use. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Have you ever been inspired or sort of been looking at those touch screens or you go right to the screen? And I couldn't do that. Well, no, why not? Well, because no, I couldn't do that. It looks fascinating. Yeah, I don't want my screen right in front of my face like that. All right. Yeah, I prefer just using but I like my tablet. But I'll tell you about my Wacom tablet. I use the cheap ones. Okay. Why? I don't use the expensive ones. Like you have the little square? Yeah, I have the little bamboo tablet is what I use. Well, you have the bamboo. Yeah. Okay. And you're like a professional retouch artist and a professional photographer. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. They work great. That's like somebody going to Costco to buy their computer. Kinda. Kinda. Almost. But you know what? As bad. No, but they're cheap and they work great. Yeah. All right. That's something to be said about that. Yeah. I know. You've never wanted to upgrade? No. Why bother? Yeah. Because tablets wear out. Yeah. When you use them as much as I use them, you have to replace them once every few years. Like I'd say once every 2 to 3 years, you need a new one because the surfaces wear out. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm sorry, I'm not spending $300, $400, $500 when I can spend $100 and get the same thing because it's just the surface that's going to wear out. Well, the surface is going to wear out no matter how expensive it is. The surface is going to wear out. You know what I mean? So. I tried using a Wacom. I had one. I gave it to a guy, and I forget what it was. It was about a 7-year-old model. I bought it about 4 years ago. when I started spending a lot of time in Costa Rica, and I just couldn't. I know it's good if you get used to it, and I should probably revisit it one day, but I got to get patient on it. What's the event you're going to? Sorry to get off the different topic here. What's that event you're going to?
It's AIBP retreat.
I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Okay. Well, you need to go to. No, is that right? Yeah. Is that right?
There it is.
Yeah. Scroll down. That's it. Nope. Scroll up. Scroll up.
That's
along the top. Where does it say? Annual retreat. Click on that. There we go. Yep. That's it.
Wow. Happening?
Yeah. It's happening at the Boulderado is the name of the hotel, which is supposed to be really cool. And
there's Judy.
Yeah.
Judy Cormier.
Yeah.
Are you speaking about Lynn Clark?
Yep. Lynn Clark is a friend of mine, and she's another photographer in Denver, Colorado. And her and I are two people that do nudes all the time.
Cool.
Most people don't do a lot of nudes. No. And
why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's no. Most of my clients want them. I think it's kind of a natural progression from boudoir to do nudes, right?
Yeah.
And pretty well all my clients that come back want to do them.
So return clients.
Yeah, most of the time.
So
most women don't. Yeah, most women don't come in and want to do them cold necessarily. It's usually a return client that wants to do nudes.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
You're just a wealth of information. I always learn just talking to you.
So do you want to talk about your
question?
Existential thingy-me-bobber?
Yeah, we can go there. I just wanted to finish where you were up to and whatnot, but we can definitely go there.
Yeah, that's about it for me. Nothing else new.
All right. It's snowing up here right now. We're getting blasted tonight. Jeez.
Oh yeah, it's raining here.
All right.
It's supposed to pour.
Yeah, we're winter's hanging on forever. It's depressing. So my thought was, have you ever had a photographic existential crisis? In other words, have you ever got to the point in your career, your photography career, where you felt down, useless, going nowhere, depressed, dead end, etc., etc., and you had to sort of resolve that and come to some sort of a reconciliatory state, or quit? I know a lot of photographers. I was telling this to James today because this conversation came up today over lunch. I had lunch with him, and we just sort of got into it. And I said, a lot of photographers probably had a lot of crises in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. A lot of them probably quit because of the way the industry's going. But I can tell you, in the 39 years I've been in it, probably more so in the last probably 2025. And I think it's pretty normal. I think that it happens with a lot of people. Maybe not. I could be wrong. I think of people that I know that are full-time professionals, and like Maggie and Judy and Sandy Pooch down in Colorado, just to name a few. And, do they ever have these struggles, these existential struggles, where you think, oh, I'm not any good, I'm not getting this, or business is down, or something triggers it, and you sort of like go through a crisis where you're thinking, it ain't working out. And you sort of go through that sort of period. And some people will get depressed, like will have real struggles with it, or anxieties, or just, be put off for a day or two and then kind of come around. I know for me, and all the times that I've been through that, I've always come around to, this is what I do.
Right.
This is and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, but it's happened to me many times where I've had those crises. What about you?
Yeah, many times.
So it's not just me.
No. And you know, maybe it's because I haven't been doing it as long as you, but it was 19 years in February for me.
That's a lot of traction, man.
It's a long time and a lot of changes in the 19 years, right? Like, I think the big one for me was 6-7 years ago, making the decision to stop weddings. That was huge for me.
Oh, was it?
Right? Yeah. And it was kind of a combo thing where I was a little bit burnt out from them. I think it was coming through in my bookings. You know, like I wasn't booking as much, and I think I wasn't booking as much because I didn't want to book as much, and right. I think psychologically it comes off to the clients that way too.
You think that played a role?
Yes, I totally do, and that is what spurred my move to Hamilton. You know.
Oh, it did?
And yeah, it did.
I was wondering why you moved.
I moved so I could get studio space because Toronto was too expensive.
But the whole wedding fiasco, I'm going to call it fiasco, the whole wedding struggle that you were just mentioning played a role or was at least part of the catalyst that brought you to that move, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Huge. So it's like you know, like I think I know I see a lot of photographers that bitch about the industry constantly. Mm-hmm. This is changing that. I've never bitched about the industry.
Yeah.
Really.
I got to admit, I never do too. I don't think it's a smart thing to do.
No. And it's also because I don't believe that these are problems. I believe that they're problems you make yourself. Okay? So it's just the fact that I think that if you want to be a photographer, you be a photographer.
Right.
But commit to it and go with the flow. You know? Like if things change, you have to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, right? And that's kind of been my philosophy. So I've really let go of the whole wedding stuff. I don't even follow wedding photographers at all anymore. I don't even look at their work at all anymore. But I can't tell you how many wedding photographers follow my stuff on Instagram and everything. And I think it's because they get tired. You get tired of doing the same thing all the time, and you're always looking for new ideas and new ways. I mean, think about how your business has changed, right? Well, it's changed because if it doesn't change, it's not good for you. You have to change.
Yeah. And well, I'm partly to blame too, because I sort of like threw a hand grenade in the shed, and I sort of like made the changes happen.
Yeah. Well, but if you didn't, well, then they wouldn't happen, and nothing would happen. So you have to be proactive about your own business and where you're at and what you're doing and all that sort of thing. Because if you don't, you'll go nuts. Like, I mean, I kind of hit that wall again, okay? So I went through a bit of a thing a year ago, right? Where I was hating my work. Yeah. I was bored with it. And I've been struggling with that for like the last year.
No, that's what we're talking about right there. That's
it. And it's got nothing to do with the industry at all.
Yeah.
It has to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've kind of passed that now and feel a little bit like that fresh thing is coming on again. That was a big one, obviously, because you're talking a lot of time here, right? This has been evolving over a year. A year, yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go back 6 years ago to the big move. That was another time. That was
a really big change that happened quick.
All right. And that's what happened to me 3 years ago, by the way. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. So anyways,
Same thing? Right.
So you resolved that one, the first one?
Quick.
You resolved it quick.
Yes.
No weddings.
No weddings. Well, I still had a few. I still did a few for a while, but I really reduced my numbers, right? And then, but I got my studio, and that first year I had like 200 boudoir sessions that first year. Like I went totally crazy. Yeah, and I mean, so I really committed to the change.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You did.
And so this other one has been more of an evolution process.
But it.
Right?
I want to put these, what you're talking about, these experiences vis-a-vis, like you did a huge change, resolved it quick. This is the more recent one was a small change, taken a while to resolve.
Yes,
right?
and
part right?
yes, and this change doesn't have to do with me not wanting to do boudoir anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It has more to do with me not feeling the art in my work.
All right. That's so part of the existential crisis, right there.
Yes.
Right
so it's not the actual work itself of what I'm doing. It's how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so this is where I'm slowly making some changes, and this is also where the retouching has come in, because what the retouching has done for me now, Rob, has taken the pressure off on the boudoir side.
In what sense? Financially?
Yes, financially.
Or existential crisis wise, because
both.
I'm assuming there's an artistic satisfaction that comes out of doing all that workflow. There's got to be.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I mean,
I never hear you complain. I can't even sense that you're not happy doing that.
I have a lot of fun doing it, and I like looking at other people's work, and I like to look at what they're creating and everything.
It sounds horrible to me, like you're chained to a desk and you're doing factory work. That's what it sounds like.
and maybe so. That's it. But I get huge satisfaction when I have a retouch client who comes back and says, "You retouched 50 images, and I sold all of them." And she made like a $6,000 sale because of me.
You're going to have to start asking for commission.
But really, like I get great satisfaction out of that. Yeah. And
Judy tip jar. Judy needs a new computer.
But I did raise my rates.
Good.
And of course I charge pretty much US dollars on almost all my clients. I only have a couple of Canadian clients. They're pretty much all American.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, so you get that satisfaction too, as well as the actual doing of the job, working.
Yes.
Then it's sort of creative in that respect.
Well, and then, so obviously I have a lot of technical experience,
mm-hmm.
and I've helped a lot of my photographers with their work.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of back end, me giving my expertise because I'm a shooter, and I really do think I'm a good shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand light, but I also understand how to use my camera properly.
Yeah. So when you're doing workflow for a photographer and you see a problem, you will help them?
Yes, and I have. I have one client in particular that her work has completely changed from when she first started sending it to me to how she's sending it now. And she just moved studios. And when she moved studios, I put her through a whole light test sequence on how to figure out the lighting in her new studio. And we did that. And yeah.
So it pays to have Judy doing your workflow.
In more ways than one.
You're going to sell all your images, and if there's issues with your photography, that's like you're offering consulting services, and then it's very
a little bit.
It is,
but it makes my life easier because the work's better,
and it's added value for them, and I would imagine you're really nurturing that bond as a client.
Yes,
they're your client. I mean, they're
and they know they can ask me anything, right? Like I just had a client today who she shoots Nikon, so she had a problem with her camera.
Yeah,
was having an issue, and so she asked me.
Yeah, and there you are.
So I'm here to help if I can.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. Well, helping people makes people feel good, period.
Yeah.
I think that's a given for most people, except for the crazies and the psychotics and the sociopaths. Other than them, it just, just people just like helping people. That's just something I've always felt was really true.
Which is why we do these.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right?
The actual core essence of the boudoir session and all the other ones that you do, you're helping them. So,
yeah.
But that's part of the satisfaction you get from it. When I say it sounds horrible. It sounds like a factory job. It sounds repetitive to me. I say that's not really how I really feel, because a part of me is like, yeah, I could see the value in actually doing that. It's not something I don't know that I could do to the level that you do, but I see the value, and as you describe it more and more, it kind of like comes into clearer perspective, and it makes a lot of sense. So vis-a-vis having a schedule, you say you're scheduled 2 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're scheduled 2 weeks out. Having that kind of structure is like having a regular job.
It's a little bit like that. Like I actually now always have my Saturday off.
Yeah.
I do not book anything. I don't even book my own shoots on Saturdays anymore.
No Saturdays?
I
you
actually
don't work Sunday?
No, I don't shoot Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So those are 3 days that I don't shoot at all. Yeah. I now only do one shoot a week, anywhere from Tuesday to Friday. And then I do work on Sundays, but my Sundays are kind of like I always put a little job in there, and I'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's laundry day, like that kind of. Saturdays, I leave the house.
All right.
I go out.
That's important.
I'm gone all day. I go to my friend Heather's. Her and I go to bingo. That's like my guilty pleasure. Don't laugh. We won $3,300 last weekend, so it's like it's all good. But
that's called computer money right there.
No, her and I split it. But I mean, so I go. I get away from the computer.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
And I feel really rejuvenated because even though it's just one day, it's one day away from everything.
And right? these things all contribute to you feeling a general sense of day-to-day satisfaction, and
right.
If there's a existential photographic struggle or crisis that shows up, probably not going to happen when you got that much going on, and you got. I really value structure, by the way. Whether you're working for somebody else,
I think you need it.
Yeah, you do. Whether you're working for someone else or whether you're working for yourself.
Yeah.
I think possibly that when you're a photographer and you start bitching, moaning, complaining, and you go through a big existential crisis, I'm going to guess that often it might happen because you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough going on. And
you talk about structure, and
yeah,
I think that for me, when I moved to Hamilton and I started doing a lot of the boudoir sessions, everything, my life became much more structured.
Yeah.
To start with, okay? So now the structure's just changed slightly.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll work, I'll work basically a 10-hour day.
Yeah.
I take breaks, but I work the 10-hour day. But I don't start until sometimes 11 o'clock.
That's the way to do it, man.
Right? Yeah, I get up in the morning, I'll go and get my coffee. If I got to do groceries, I go do groceries in the morning. So my mornings are kind of for me. Mm-hmm. And then I really get going and but don't you find that if you don't have a certain structure, you never take time off if you don't have a structure?
Yeah, that's me.
Right? You have to take time off at a certain point, because otherwise, if you don't do that, you're going to have burnout. So, and I used to be really bad about saying, oh, well, okay, I'm not going to book them on a Saturday, and then I book them on a Saturday.
You don't do that anymore.
If I do, it's once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going to happen?
And that's it.
What's going to happen if you go to this women's show and you get slammed with business?
Well, I mean, if I go to the women's show and I book, I still am only going to book one a week.
Okay. Put everybody on a waiting list and double your prices.
That's right.
Yeah.
Value. You got to build value for yourself, right?
You got to do it. Yeah. I mean, it's all about availability, and then that's a real valid marketing strategy. Dan Kennedy talks about that a lot.
Yeah. Like build value for yourself by making people think they have to wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
double your prices.
Yeah, double your prices.
Or something like that, or raise them at least. That's interesting. So anyways, that last existential crisis you had is at its tail end being resolved. I wish James was here. He could tell us about his, but we'll have to maybe talk about that another day. But
yeah, I know. But yes, it's pretty much now resolved, and this year is planned.
Yeah.
Right? So everything's kind of like moving along nicely.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good to hear, man.
We'll see where it goes from there. Yeah.
I'm glad you're happy doing what you're doing. And what about weddings? So you said you were getting back into weddings.
No, done. Gone.
You changed your mind on that? Because last time we talked, it was about 6 months ago. You said, yeah, I'm going to get back into weddings.
No.
Not going to happen.
Done. No, I think that was part of what I went through with that whole, that whole year. Yeah, and I did some weddings last summer and stuff, and it's like, no, done.
I did some weddings last summer, and it was, no.
Done, yeah. That kind of fizzled out really fast. Yeah.
Hey, do you ever...
but the one thing I am taking back is family stuff.
Okay.
Again, yeah.
All right. Well, you're
doing more family.
You're finding your groove.
Yes, I'm actually feeling really good about the family stuff now. Okay. So, and again, it's one of those things, kind of like those business portraits. It's bits and pieces here and there, and I actually think I almost need that as a creative injection into my work.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I love doing families. They're one of my favorite shoots. I just get jazzed. I wish I was better. I wish I was better at them, but whatever.
Yeah. And I've done some maternity and some newborn and all that sort of stuff. And I had said I would never do all that, and I'm actually enjoying it. So
there you go.
Yeah, having fun with it.
No more weddings ever.
No more weddings ever.
That's
done.
Done. No more moving back to Toronto. That's done.
That's done too. Yeah. No, I'm going to stay where I am.
Yeah.
I'm happy with with the way rents are going and everything like that. I actually have it pretty good right here. So, yeah.
So do you ever take any Creative Live or similarly anything of that nature, educational courses on retouching? Are you constantly improving?
Yeah, all the time.
And do you find that helps with having a crisis? Do you find it sort of clears the air a bit?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it clears the air, but it kind of gives you
inspiration.
Yeah, like helps you redirect a little bit, and like I just signed up for Lightroom Week on Creative Live.
They have that?
So yeah, it's like a whole week of Adobe Lightroom, which I have not done before.
Okay, so you're looking into Lightroom. You don't do Lightroom now.
Yes, I do, because I do raw process for a few of my clients. But I'm looking at it more for my own stuff. Right.
But so you're also looking just to enhance your knowledge base.
Yes, my Lightroom skills.
Nice.
Yeah, with that. So I'm gonna do that, and then the next time the Photoshop week comes up, because I didn't do it last year. Yeah. So when their Photoshop week comes up, I'm gonna follow that one too.
I bought a course from Creative Live 6 weeks ago. Lisa Carney, Photoshop brushes.
Yes, yeah. She had another one on there too. It was about doing retouching as a business.
Oh, I never saw that one.
think it was Lisa Carney.
She had a bonus. When you bought this one, you got a bonus, her bonus course, which was frequency retouching, which I kind of know about, but I'm always looking for new ways. And I watched it, and then she goes right into it. It's just way too extensive for me. But I really like the brushes, because brushes, was always really frustrated with brushes in Photoshop. And then the new version of Photoshop, they changed the layout. I don't know if you know that.
No, because I don't use a new version. I use an older version.
Okay, well, they changed. I noticed it 2 months ago or whatever, and I told my wife, I go, look at what they did with the Photoshop brushes. And then a week or so later, there's a course on Photoshop brushes, and I'm like, oh. So I buy it, and I watched the whole thing when I was on the plane going there and back.
Yeah.
I went to Costa Rica for 3 weeks, and I watched. I was bringing my laptop with me, and I'm watching these videos, and Lisa Carney, she's like, I don't, you know who she is, right? She's
I know who she is. She's big in the retouching, but she's big in she does huge accounts, right? Yeah, she's giant in the whole retouching industry.
Movie posters. But she's really excited about the same thing I was excited about, which was Photoshop brushes. And I was thinking to myself, first of all, I'm a total geek for getting excited about that. But then I'm like, oh, well, it's not just me. Obviously, this is a thing. She's going to teach a whole one-day program on Photoshop brushes. And it was very much an eye-opener. So
yeah, those are great. That stuff's great.
And I like it. Mostly for, I want to really do that painterly stuff. Yeah. And then the retouching, the beauty retouching and that, and working with the brushes is really key. It's really mostly the management and layout function of Photoshop brushes that's really exciting. Oddly enough, it sounds so strange, but that little thing is a game changer to the point where it's like night and day. So you really have to get into it to see what I'm talking about. And Lisa talks about it quite a bit, and it was really kind of cool. But on that note, what the hell was I going to say about that in particular? There was something else about it. I lost it.
You lost your thought? You lost your train of thought? About doing the whole creative live things?
Yeah.
Those things are great.
Yeah, see, I don't have that many. You know, funny thing is, when I bought that program this winter, and I went into my creative, I'm like, oh, I have a creative live account. I'm like, oh shit, I bought stuff 4 years ago and I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah, well, sure, because it's all there, right?
There it is. I'm like, okay, let's go watch that again. And I bought another one as well. They have sales all the time on Photoshop retouching. A cinematic poster look with some dude. I haven't watched that one yet, but it's on my to-do list. I'm always.
Well, there's actually a really good one with what's his name, Pratik Naik. He's a Photoshop. He's a retouching. He does glamour retouching and all that stuff like that. And that's where I learned frequency separation. But I do it a little different.
His name again.
Pratik, it's Pratik, and his last name is Naik.
Is he speaking at this event?
I don't know. He speaks at a lot of events. He's a really Indian fellow, and his work is fab.
When you said his name, I knew this guy was Umnesh Dinda, was obviously another Indian name.
Yeah.
How do you say his name again?
Pratik, and then last name Naik.
Retouching. There he is. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Portrait Professional, Creative Live. I'll go check that out.
Yeah, I've done I have his Creative Live one, but he's really, really good. And he's also, he's got a new course under the whole portrait system with Sue Bryce.
Right.
Which I don't belong to that because I don't like Sue Bryce, but
You didn't say that, did you?
Yeah, I did.
She's nice. She's very motivating and inspiring.
Yeah, but it's just too cookie cutter for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, she's a wonderful person.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with her personally, and it's got nothing to do with, I think her work is beautiful, but it's like a machine. It's like a cookie cutter machine, and I'm not into that whole thing. You know me. So I'm like march to the beat of my own drummer.
You're a rebel, a renegade. There's that beauty retouch. I love that retouching, and I've been working that more and more and more. I got to be honest with you, there's a lot of videos on YouTube too, and I've watched a shitload of them since last year.
Yeah, but some of them are really bad.
Some of them are, but some of them aren't. I mean, you got to find the good ones. And, you know, it's weird. I like watching retouching Adobe Photoshop tutorials. As long as they're not too, let's dwell on this point and talk about it for 10 minutes. I mean, get to the point, I know. Keep moving, man. You got to keep moving. Yeah. But anyways, so that's interesting. So that all ties in, and the reason I brought it up was because as a professional, no matter how structured you are, no matter what's going on, and you have an existential crisis, this is a reality. And it's not like we have a HR department or we have a department in a large corporation where you can go get some training, extra training, support, and all that good stuff. It's
emotional support.
Really, it's all on shoulders, and this is, I think, is a key aspect to staying
sane.
To me, doing these like I do a lot of webinars every month.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always doing the interviews and series, and I do 2 mastermind meetings every month, one on lighting, one on marketing. And that helps me. That's part of my mojo that keeps me from having an all-out existential crisis.
Yeah.
But, you know, so.
Oh, I hear you. Totally.
Yeah, but it's all part of being creative and staying afloat in business. So.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, and you got to make those changes. Sometimes it's like you're making the changes, and the changes are for the clients, and sometimes you're making the changes for yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, my big one was for myself 4 or 5 years ago when I sold my studio.
Yes.
I stood in my kitchen and I looked.
Well, because wasn't that like your dream studio?
Yeah, and anybody who saw it would agree it's a dream studio. It was perfect. But you know, I was like, do I need 3 living rooms? I just went through this midlife thing. I was like, I don't want to have shit anymore, and got rid of 80% of my possessions. So I had to sort of brought it right down and just bring it right back up. But life is good. Life is good now, and still playing a game of photography, but looking for other things, and that's what brought me to LA, and meeting that sort of like non-photography sort of realm of things, and it was exciting. I got to tell you a quick story before I let you go, because it's almost 10 o'clock, and I know I promised you an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter had huge struggles last year, right? And that was a really, really big struggle for my wife and I.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
It was really hard. And I found I had strength. I got strength out of that, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning, I go, we're going through a shitstorm. We got to keep going. And I felt extra strong and focused. And we did. We kept going. And my wife had a harder time, but it eventually got to me in last fall. I started getting a lot of pain in my chest and in my right side. My entire right side was really, really, literally not paralyzed, but in so much pain I couldn't even use a mouse. So I was on constant Advil and what's the other one? Tylenol. You can take Tylenol and Advil together.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as ibuprofen, I believe, and it's a really good painkiller. And I had to do that constantly. I was dosing on that stuff constantly in order to just get through it. So physically, that's where it manifested. But I mean, initially it was like, yeah, okay, we're going to get through this and we're going to make it happen. So there's a whole nother story as to how it all got resolved, but it's pretty much resolved, and life is good right now. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm going through kind of my own whole health crisis thing too, which I won't get into, but I'll have to have surgery this year.
Oh. Well,
yeah. So, but it's, I know it's necessary, and I know it's got to be done, and so I'm doing it. I'm doing it to make myself feel better. So
yeah,
it's just one of those things, right? Like it's like I've been through the whole sort of thought I was having a heart attack, all this stuff like that. I've had everything, every test known to man done, and it came down to something else that's causing it, and we know what it is that's causing it, and so
it's not emotional.
No.
See, my pain was all emotional. It was stress.
And was it all because of what was happening with
yeah, absolutely. It just physically wore me down, and it was 3 months of that, and it started to get better in January. There's a whole story behind that, which I don't want to tell because it's sort of personal with my daughter and that, but it's interesting as hell. I'll tell you about it if I see you in person. But, you know.
But those emotional things take their toll too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. They're physically draining. Well, I think a lot of back pain and a lot of arthritic pain and a lot of physical ailments are really exacerbated in a big way, and in many circumstances. I can't say for sure, but almost 100%. There's a connection between emotion and physical manifestation of pain.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
There's something else. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, like I've been in the last year and a half to year and a half, I guess, 2 years. I've been in emergency 3 times thinking I was having a heart attack.
Ow!
Yeah.
Like I'm having a heart attack. It wasn't a heart attack.
And it was pain right on the left side of my chest. And it was not a heart attack. No.
You don't have
I've had an echo
arm going numb.
No numbness, no nothing like that. It was chest pain, and it was it just was like I had dizziness and things like, but I wasn't nauseous. I didn't have nausea or anything along those lines. I've had an echocardiogram. I've worn a heart monitor. I mean, I've been through.
So your heart's good.
Yeah, been through every process known to man, right? Yep. And you know, like an echocardiogram is a heart ultrasound, right?
Yeah.
So I've had all that, and that's not the problem, but the problem's with my lymph nodes, and it's related to something else. So this is where the issues are coming in, and I have to go in and I have to get this taken care of. So that's going to actually take me out of the shooting realm for 2 months.
Yeah. All right.
Because I won't be able to raise my arms up to shoot for 2 months.
Right. But you're going to be able to retouch.
Yes.
Well, I hope it works out for you. And
so that's why I'm happy about that, because the retouching will keeps the money flowing in really well.
And do you feel good because it's like, okay, we've got this figured out now? I mean,
yes. There's a resolution in sight.
I'm not having a heart attack. It's this, whatever that is. And you feel good about that.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
Well, I hope it works out for you, man. It's just like,
Well, I belong to a group on Facebook that deals with this particular thing specifically, and it's women, and all of the women who have had the operation have found 60 to 70% of their symptoms are gone within the first month to 6 months.
Cool.
So it's and I have all the symptoms that are there. So I know that this is what's causing it, and that's what I have to go and do. So I mean, you know, it's like I think when you come to that resolution, it's like you kind of go, right? It's like a bit of fresh air. It's like I know all of this, and my doctor's right in there with me, and you know, kind of keeping me on track and all that sort of thing. Yeah, which is good.
That's pretty heavy stuff. So
I'm
going to ask you a question, but I'm going to hit the stop record button first. Hold on.
Okay.